welcome to my North Knit Corner podcast. My name is Anne, and I come to you from the south of Norway. This is my little corner of the internet where I talk about knitting and yarn, and sometimes a little bit about life. Today is Thursday, yes, and it was sunny and it was spring, and this morning when I woke up there was snow. Yes, so winter is back. No, I think the snow will disappear fast, but yes, last week it was sunny, it was warm, and it was so nice. And today the snow was back. But it is just the way it is in April. So, but it's not much. It will disappear fast, I think. So, yeah, that's life. But spring can't come fast enough. I'm so ready for warmer weather, and yeah. But it's okay. I can take some days with snow. That's fine. But I hope that you are well, that you have some time to spend with me, that you have your knitting, that you have some crocheting maybe, that you have some good to drink. I have some delicious coffee. Yeah. Let's just get to it then. You can find me on Instagram as my North Knit Corner. I am on Ravelry, where I am Strikkekrokenpod. I also have a group for this podcast that's called My North Knit Corner. My North Knit Corner or My North Knit Corner podcast. Not sure. I will write it here. But I'm not very, or there's not much going on there, but it's really nice if you want to join. I don't know if I will have some knit along or something, but maybe sometime in the future, we'll see. Yeah. Yeah. Today I am wearing my first finished object as well. It's the Sveig by Kate, or the pattern is by Caitlin Hunter or Boylan Knitworks on Instagram. And the yarn I've used is from a Norwegian hand dyer called Garnfene. And it's in the colorway Scrap Iron. So it's this one, Scrap Iron. And for the structure yoke, I have used yarn from Through the Wardrobe Yarn in their sparkle sock base, and it's a one-of-a-kind color. So, and it's sparkle, so it's 5% gold sparkle in it. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but I'm really pleased with this. I think it's so nice. I'm very happy with it. And it's such a perfect fit. I don't think I have had very bad English. I'm so sorry. I think it's the first sweater that I've knitted that I'm really pleased with the fit. I think it's so perfect. Really, it fits so good. So yeah. And it was really fun to knit. I really enjoy the structure. I'm not very good at this holes. I know it's not really even, and it's homemade, so who cares? Yeah, I am really pleased with it. And this weekend I went to a yarn festival, which I will talk more about, but I got so many compliments for it, so you know, that's really fun. And when you're really pleased with the garment yourself and someone comments on it and give you compliments, you know, you get really I was so happy. The only thing is, of course, that I made the arms a bit too long, because I forget that superwash yarn really stretches in washing, but that's not a problem. I really like to take the arms like this, so that's not a problem. And I just have to remember next time that I have to make the arms a little bit shorter before I do the ribbing, but that's okay, no problem. So that's my Sveig and my first finished object, and I'm so happy with it. And I did the crosses on the body and the arms, and I thought maybe these crosses was a bit hard to do. They were not hard, but maybe a bit difficult to get them nice or I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's probably just me. If you have knitted this sweater, maybe you understand what I mean, but I think yeah, no, I don't know how to describe it in English, I'm sorry. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm very happy with the result, all in all. So I really want to make another one, but I have so many things to knit, so it won't be this year. But maybe in the future, maybe when this is used up, because this is a sweater I'm going to use a lot. I love it. I really, really do. And it's, yeah, perfect, if I may say so. When I was finished with it, I had washed it, I had blocked it and all that. I didn't really block it, but you know, the structure needed some blocking. And I was admiring it and looking at it before I was going to take it on. I saw a dropped stitch. Whew. I got so nervous. I couldn't understand what had happened, because I didn't realize that I lost a stitch when I did the body, because I lost it. I had to have lost it. It was in just under here, back on the back here somewhere, right after here, this line. And I hadn't realized it, because I have kept on knitting, and I have just had to make the new one, a new stitch somehow, without thinking, oh, maybe I lost a stitch somewhere or something. I don't know. Anyway, I managed to save it and just use a crochet hook and just yeah, I managed to sew it nicely down and secure it. And I tried to find it today when I was going to put the sweater on, and I can't find it. So that's good. Then no one will see it, I think. And it's in the back here, so it doesn't matter. But I'm so glad I saw it before I took the sweater on, because if it just ripped up, then that would be really sad. So whew, that was good. Yes, so that's my swag. And the next one is some socks, Hibernation socks by Lindsey Fowler. It was a sock kit that I bought from Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. On the knitting festival I went on last year. It was a sock kit, yes, with one skein of merino sock and one Surrey silk. Yeah, here they are. So the Surrey silk was up here, and then you only use the merino or the sock yarn here. And this is double, so you knit for a long time, and you knit double or knit them together here. So that was a bit boring. So I really want to knit them again, but then I only want to knit like one. I don't want to make it double, I think. And I made it too big. I'm a loose knitter, so next time I have to go down a size. But when I came down here, I just reduced the stitches to the size below, or a size smaller. So the rest of the socks is a good fit. It's a bit loose up here, but that doesn't matter. Yeah. So I want to make them again, but I don't want to make the double, only because I think it's boring. It will be very nice and warm, of course, but yeah. I think they're really cute. I really like this colorway. Yeah. And I think the structure here is really nice too. So that's that. I just need some coffee. And I made a couple of socks for my little boy who is 6. I made him some socks before in some rainbow yarn with sparkles, and he came, he loves them, used them a lot, which is a big surprise, but very nice. And he came in here and he asked, "Mama, can you make me some more?" And I said, "Of course." And I told him to choose some yarn. And I have this yarn wall here, and he saw some sparkly yarn. So let me see. So he found this yarn on my wall. And that's a yarn that I won last year we went on a podcast meet with all the knitting podcasters that I lives in the south and southeast of Norway. And we had like a raffle. Like a raffle with prizes and stuff. And I won this yarn together with this. It's a Filcolana Vetta in the colorway 235. So I use this for ribbing and heel and toe. Or ribbing cuff, maybe you call it. Yeah. And this is on a sparkly too. He loves some sparkles. And I went on a trip this last weekend, and I thought I could use this as my knitting on the train. And I cast on, but I cast on a size too big, and when I had knitted for a while I realized it was too big. But then I thought I can just knit them, because he can always use them when he gets bigger. And I have enough yarn so I can make him a pair that fits now as well. When I was finished with the one sock that was big, I cast on the socks that fit him. And now I'm done with them. So here they are. It's the Rye Light socks by Tin Can Knits. It's the same that I made him last time. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I really recommend this pattern. I think it's really nice. Really enjoy. What's that? I really enjoy to knit them. Yeah. So it's and I really like this yarn. It's really fun. Yeah, and really sparkly. So tomorrow he can use them. He wanted to use them today, but I said no, I have to show them off first. So let me see. Easy structure on the front. So that's really I really love that he likes to wear these socks that I make him. Really makes me happy. Because he doesn't really want to wear anything else I make him. He wears the musselburgh hat that I made him, but not anything else. But socks he wants. And yeah. So that's another pair of socks done. And the last finished project I have is my sea glass tea. And here it is. Yeah. I really don't know what to say about this. I sometimes really like it and think it's really cool. And sometimes I think it's really ugly. I don't know if it's something with my mood or I don't know. Sometimes I really, really, really think it's really cool. And sometimes it's not nice at all. Yeah, it's really... But I don't know. What do you think? It's the Sea Glass Tea by Wool & Pine. It's knitted in my advent from Garnbutikken Fortuna from last year. I knitted 6 rows before I changed color. And I didn't have a plan. I used light and... Or I only had a light and dark color, and I changed every 6th row. Yeah, I used magic knot, and that went okay. I think we'll see when I wear it if it doesn't fall off. Open up on the back here when I use it. No, I don't think so, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I will wear it, of course I will wear it, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. And I haven't really thought about how I used to color it, so when it's hand-dyed yarn, you know, you get, like here, it's not so easy to show. You get like pooling of colors, even though, I mean, I change colors all the time, you know, you get like some kind of pooling of color. So I'm not really sure, but yeah, we'll see. So here it is. But I mean, it's supposed to be scrappy, so clothes doesn't have to be perfect, right? And it is like a scrappy blanket thing. And I don't know. It's fun. Yeah. So on my needles, I have a few projects. I needed a project to bring with me when I was around on visits and cafe and stuff like that. Just a easy knit. So I thought I could use a new hat. I haven't knitted a hat for myself since I started knitting. The first thing I knitted when I started to knit 4 years ago was a hat for myself, and I haven't knitted any hats for myself since then. So it was about time. So I started a musselburgh hat for myself, and that's by Ysolda Teague, and I think that is a genius pattern. And of course, I'm sure you all know about the musselburgh hat by now, but it's genius that you can just start it and then you just use whatever yarn you want and the needles you need, and just measure your gauge, and then the pattern just tells you what to do. It's perfect. So I found some yarn that I bought last year at the yarn festival that I didn't have a plan for, and started to knit. I chose yarn from Enchanted Forest Fibers that I had. That's called Sif. Yeah, Sif. And it's this gorgeous color. And I haven't really got so far, but it's just something I have with me. I knit a couple of rounds when I am out and about. And I have a very cute little sheep here. You can see it. Oh, it wasn't so easy to show. Yeah, it's not much to say about it, but it's I love that musselburgh hat pattern. So it grows a little bit every time I'm taking a trip out somewhere, which isn't so often. But sometimes. Yes, and I have started to knit on a chunky Dahlia by Lene Holme Samse, or Lenit on Instagram. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before. I bought a lot of drops brushed alpaca silk. It was cheap. Was some offer on some online store, and I thought that would be very nice for a Louisiana sweater, and I bought a lot extra. For some reason I thought that was very smart, but I knitted a Louisiana sweater in drops brushed alpaca silk, but I wasn't really happy with the result. I think Louisiana sweater pattern is great, but I didn't like the fabric of the brushed alpaca silk. And I don't want another sweater in that yarn. So, but I have a lot of the drops brushed alpaca silk. So note to self, don't buy a lot of cheap yarn just because it's cheap. That's not always so smart. Oh. But I wanted to use what I had, so I thought it could be a very nice, like, what is it called? Like I could use it together with something else. Like you use mohair together with something else. So I have had this color, which is called Curry. It's the number 19. And I didn't want to use a lot of money on yarn. And they had an offer on not drops, Viking Alpaca Breeze. It's a yarn I never tried before, so I'm a little bit excited to try it. It's the colorway Corn, number 341. Of course, the picture online is not always what you see when you get it, so these two colors together, I was not really sure how they would turn out, but I knitted a gauge swatch and I was actually really it looked good. So here it is, chunky Dahlia. And it's big needles, so goes really fast, and it's really fun pattern to knit, and I'm really excited to get it done. So I hope I can have it done for Easter, maybe this weekend. I'm almost done with the ribbing, so then I will start the arms. So I think I can be done this weekend, maybe. And I think it's going to be really nice. Yes. So I'm excited for this. And it's really soft and good. Yeah. That's my chunky Dahlia. And I am knitting on a cumulus tee by Petite Knit. And here I'm not sure if I have enough yarn. I got a Christmas surprise box from Garn Boutique in Fortuna, which is Norwegian yarn store in Norway and hand dyer. My husband bought that for me for Christmas. It's like a box with and you don't know what's inside, with different yarns, and yeah. And there were 2 skeins of silk yak yarn, which was really exciting. And look at this beautiful color. Ooh, and it's so shiny and soft. It's really beautiful. And I have 2 skeins, and I can't remember how much it is, but it's pretty long. 420 something on it meters. I'm not sure. So I know it's a little bit short. It's a little bit too or short for the cumulus tea. I don't have enough yarn, a little bit, but I'm thinking I can have shorter sleeves. I can have it a bit shorter on the body, maybe. And if it's too short or I don't feel it's enough, I will rip back and I will knit something else. But I really want to try, because I think it can be a really nice cumulus. So I'm really hoping that I will win this yarn chicken. Is it what you call it? Yeah. But we'll see. But I think it will be really nice if I can win this. So here it is. I'm knitting a size small. Yeah, because petite knit always have so much positive ease in her pattern, so I always knit the size smaller than I need, or than I, and then she recommends, I mean, because I always, when I started to knit her patterns, I always felt that that I got garments that were too big for me. But when I knit a size down, I always get really happy with the garments. So here's my cumulus. I really hope that I have enough yarn. I think even though it will be short in the body and short on sleeves, I can use high waist shorts or high waist skirt or dress or something, and it will be nice. Yes, I just have to be sure that I have enough to do the I-cord. Yes, so I think maybe I have been doing helical knitting, yeah, so maybe I should just stop doing that now. Take this off, and I'm not sure if it's necessary, but I haven't dared not to. But I think maybe I should take this off and do the I-cord. But then maybe if I have to take it up again, that's not so smart. Maybe I should wait a little bit, because I have quite a lot of yarn left still, so something to think about. Yes, well, I'm excited to see how this will end up. you can see that there's, maybe you can see it, there's a little bit of striping on the front because you knit not always so easy with translating in your head. Yeah, well, you have to purl. You're doing purling and then you're doing stockinette. And when I purl, I do it looser than when I do it. So you get the striping effect. It's because I do looser on the purling side. And I should have maybe gone down like half a size or something, and I did on the last, on the bottom here, and it looks better, and I should have done that from the start. But next time, I hope maybe it will be better when I wash it, that it will even out, because it's not too bad, but you know, you can see it. Well, I learn, but yeah. Anyway, so yes, and you remember I said I wasn't sure if I thought this was cool or ugly, or, well, since I'm not sure if I like it or not, I just started a new one. Because Fernanda is making I think it's a seaglass tee. It's not a sweater, it's a seaglass tee. I think so. Anyway, she's changing colors every row, I believe. And I think it's so beautiful. Fernanda in Little Monkeys and Me. And I wanted to do that too. And I had a lot of leftovers after, or a lot of scraps after I had done this. I mean, this is only 220 grams or something. And I had a lot of the Advent calendar left, Advent yarn left. So I, here you see it. And I put also some other scraps in here. Some that I have dyed myself, and some from my Hibernation socks. Some from some other, yeah, from a shawl, some yarn from a shawl that this is dyed by Brie in Doodlebug yarn. Yeah. So I started a new one, of course. And I make a size, this is size 2, now I'm making a size 3, because this is a really tight fit. It fits okay, but I want a little bit more ease, so I'm making a size 3. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I started with the magical knots here as well, or the magic knot. But when I was knitting, suddenly I saw that they opened. And I don't know what I had done. And now I'm so scared that some of the ones that are left will open as well. I'm really scared. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I had no issues with this one. And I looked at the tutorial that follows the patterns again, and I'm sure I'm doing it right, but I don't know. They open, and there were holes, and I had to fix it, and I don't dare do the magic knot on this one. And of course there are a lot of threads, and so what I am doing, I am knitting a few rows, and then I am I am weaving in the ends as I go, actually, because I can't. I don't want to knit the whole thing and then weave in all the ends, because that would just be such a job. So I knit a few rows and I weave in some ends, and I knit a few rows and I weave in some ends, and yeah. So, but I don't want a lot of small ends going through my t-shirt here, so I just cut them a little bit long in here. So I don't know. I don't think it matters if they are like that in here. I think that will be okay. And I try to divide them like a little bit on the back, so they're not on the same place, because I would imagine that it would be really thick if I would change them all at the same place. And I feel maybe it's not so nice. I don't know. I think this is difficult, but it's fun as well. So I don't know if I make any sense at all, but this is how it looks inside. And I don't know if this is going to be any better than the other one, but and I don't have a plan with the colors here either. I just take some colors and knit as I go, and yeah, we'll see how it turns out. It's fun to knit with different colors, and yeah. So another sea glass tea, just for fun. Yeah, who knows why? Just because it's fun to use up this Advent. Yeah, I already seen that people are starting to put out pre-orders for this year's Advent, and I'm like, of course I want an Advent, but then I just like, I don't know what to use it for. I can't have any more sea glass teas. So I don't know. And I really want to have some Advents from abroad, but it's so expensive to get it sent to Norway. So yeah, anyway, that was rambling. Okay, I hope you are still here with me. I need some coffee because it gets cold. Yeah, that was all I have on my needles. Plans. Yes, I told you last time that I was going to start the tunic, or the dress that's called Sammen by Christina Gerlanda, and I will. But now, when the spring is coming and all that, even though it's snow outside today, maybe I will wait a little bit with that. I'm not sure. I really want to start it. I do. But also I want to start some summer tops and stuff like that. So I'm not sure. I really want to start Sammen as well. We'll see. I feel I always tell you, oh, I'm going to start on that, and I'm going to start on that, and then I change my mind, and then it's not easy. Because I get inspired and then I start something else. But I have the yarn and I'm going to knit it, so that's going to happen. But maybe I will wait because the weather is getting warmer. It's not warm right now. It's I think it was like -1 degree or something Celsius. Yeah, we'll see. But I think I want to talk a little bit about the trip I've been on and a little bit about some acquisitions and stuff. So if that's not for you, then I understand. And I want to say thank you for being here. Yeah, and I hope I see you next time. But if you want to hear about that and about some things I have bought, then please stay. I have made a little movie from my trip, so if you want to see that, I think I will show that now. It's about 5 minutes. And if you don't want to see it, just jump 5 minutes and come right back here. Yeah, I'll show that now. was a little bit from my trip to Southwest Yarn Fest last weekend in Stavanger, in the west of Norway. It's about 3.5 hours with train for me. I was really nervous. I always get nervous when I travel alone, and I am strange like that. And I didn't really know anyone. I knew people through Instagram and podcasts I watch, so I knew people were going there. And I have a message with someone on Instagram, so I had sort of arranged with someone to stay or be together with. But I was a little bit nervous anyway, and yeah. But that was just so stupid. I mean, why be nervous? It went so well. I had the best time. The knitting community is amazing. It's so including. Yeah, and the festival was just amazing. The people who had organized it had done such a great job. It was so much happening on stage with they were dyeing of yarn, there were spinning, there were seminars about an app called Knit a Note, and I think that is going international. It's an app that you can put in. It's a little bit like Ravelry, where you can put in your yarn and have your patterns and stuff like that. Yeah, and an app where you could, two young girls who made an app where you can make your own designs. You put in what yarn you want, and if you want a V-neck or yeah, and it makes the pattern for you. Yeah, it was amazing, and there were a lot of prizes. It were Kahoot. I don't know if you know what Kahoot is, but it's like a quiz online, and it was we had a knitting party in the evening with fantastic food, and Jen, we just sit and knit and talked, and were in the marketplace with a lot of great indie dyers and people who made markers and stuff like that, and yeah, it was just amazing. I had the best time. Nothing to be afraid about. But I'm just like that. I really worry about small stuff all the time. It's so stupid, but I just do. But yeah, and probably next year, because I really want to go next year. If there is a festival next year, I'm probably gonna worry next year as well. That's just the way I am. But yeah, it was amazing, and I am still so tired. I am still because of my chronic illness. I 3 days on travel, and with so much things happening, it really is very hard for my body, but it's so worth it. I don't care if I have to have a week just with the rest after such a great weekend. It's so worth everything. I really enjoyed the time there, and I met other podcasters, and I met people from that I follow on Instagram, and other lovely people who love knitting, love yarn. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. It's memories that I treasure, and I'm gonna love to remember for months to come. Yes. Of course, I bought some things. I did. But first, maybe I can show. I also won some things on the chairs in the place where there was a stage, and there were on the chairs there. They put on like what's it called? Tags with numbers. I'm not sure if you call it that, but numbers, and they draw winners from the numbers on the chairs. I was lucky and I won this yarn. It's a Dreamline Air from Du Store Alpaca. I never tried this yarn before. It's 78% Suri alpaca and 22% polyamide. Yeah, and I also won a drinking bottle. You know, the one who keeps your water cool. And my son, who is 13, he have asked for a new water bottle for several weeks now. So when I showed him that, he claimed it right away. So that's great. And on the knitting party in the evening on Saturday, there was also like a raffle, or and I won this book. It's Linka Newman. It's this is called Villmarksgensere. I think maybe this is in English as well. I'm not sure what's it called in English, but wilderness sweaters, if I translate directly. But it's Linka Newman. I'm sure you have heard of her. It's beautiful, beautiful sweaters in here. And there are several that I could really knit, especially this one. It's so nice, and I love the nature here. And I'm not an outdoorsy person, but when I see all these beautiful pictures, I really wish I was. They are so nice. Yeah, there are so many beautiful sweaters in here. Yeah, and it's a beautiful book. So I was so lucky to win. And I bought some things, of course. Maybe I can start with these. I want to knit myself a cardigan. And I asked on Instagram for some tips. I want to knit one in fingering weight. I want to have a one for spring and summer. A lightweight one. And then I landed on the Stria cardigan. I think that's Andrea Maury, isn't it? And I went to the stand to Selena by Through the Wardrobe Yarn. She also has a podcast, and I really recommend you check her out. I think I will write here what her podcast is called. But she had made some really beautiful minis. So these are gonna be, some of these are gonna be my stripes. And I think I'm gonna buy Sunday in a light color for my base color. Yes, I really think these are really beautiful, summery colors. Yes, and I bought the lady that you saw on the film that I made that had this seminar about plant dyeing, Sasha from Wide Plantefargeri. I went over to her because I want to make a shawl from Gabriella in Merryweather Knitting. She also has a podcast called the Merryweather Knitting, I believe. She has the beautiful Calville shawl. And I bought this gorgeous yarn. This is plant dyed. It's lamb's wool yarn from Hillesvåg, I believe this is, Vidde. And it's plant dyed. I think it's really beautiful, and I'm gonna make Calville shawl by Merryweather Knitting. Yeah, so I'm really excited to see how this knits up, but it's going to be this fall or winter because it's a good shawl to have for fall or winter, I believe. And I have had a pattern in my library for a long time, ever since it got out, and it's the Brush Strokes Pullover by Tiff Nealon. And I really love the combination she has on her picture. So I went to Spøtegarn, which is a Norwegian dyer, and I got some beautiful yarn. It's DK weight sock yarn. This beautiful pink color. It's called Pink Dream. And this, which is called Granskos. And I think this is going to be really beautiful. So, really excited to make that. Not sure when, but sometime. Just some coffee. And then tomorrow, or I'm not sure when this podcast will come out because I want to do some editing, but today is Thursday, the 8th of April, I believe. Tomorrow, the lovely Laura of Penrose Knits, I think it's tomorrow, she's coming out with the pattern for the souffle. I am so excited because I want to knit the souffle tee. Because I saw Professor Pearl's beautiful version of the souffle. And so I went to Selena again and threw the wardrobe yarn and bought some mohair for the souffle. So tomorrow, when the pattern is coming out, I might just have to cast on right away. Who knows? Because I got myself this yarn. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh, I just love it. And the colorway is called Damson. It's 70% 2% mohair, 28% silk. And I just think it's so beautiful and shiny. So I'm really excited to make the souffle from Penrose Knits. So, what do you think? Can it be nice? Oh, I'm so lucky who are able to have all this beautiful yarn. So now I have to just knit with some, or knit with all of this. Yes. So, yes, that's the plan now. Knit, 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 knit. I also bought a couple of stitch markers from a very talented maker. I will put up a picture because it's easier to show you. She makes with small pearls. I bought a tractor and I bought some little skeins of yarn. She's called Heimelaga Perleglede, I believe. I will write it down here. She's so talented and they are so gorgeous, and she has so many beautiful stitch markers. That was what I got. I also dyed some yarn. I have invested in some dyeing supplies for because I love to knit and I'm going to knit, but sometimes on my good days when I have some more energy, I really want to do something, not just sit here. I do need to sit here a lot, and because that's just the way life is. But on some days I have a little bit more energy and I want to move around and do stuff other than you know, housekeeping and the washing of clothes and stuff, which we all have to do. But then I love to dye some yarn, and I bought some acid dyes and some supplies. So I am dyeing some yarn, and I just thought I could show you just a little bit. I have been dyeing. Just for fun. And I'm just I made myself an Instagram account. I can write it here, but I am just small scale, so I'm just selling a little bit here in Norway, I think, for now. If someone is interested, I could try to send it abroad as well, but I'm just doing this for fun. It's just really, really small scale. Not really a business thing. It's just so I can have something to do in my time when I can't work and just need something to do that can give me some purpose. Yeah, and these are all colorways that I can recreate because I think it's really fun to do, and I'm all giving them all names, local names from the area that I am from here, or I'm not from here, but where I live. I think it's really cool to get inspired from the area around here. So that's fun. Yeah. Just a little fun to show you. Yeah. So that's fun to just have something to do on good days, I think. Because we all need some purpose in life, don't we? Of course I have purpose. I don't need dyeing yarn for that. I have my kids, I have my husband, I have you guys. I have this podcast and of course, but I mean, it's good to feel productive, feel that you do something on good days. Absolutely. I feel I rambled a lot. I hope you enjoyed some of it. Thank you so much for being here. I think it's time to wrap it up. Yeah. Thank you all so much for all nice comments. I really appreciate it. It's so nice to read and to see that you are out there. I really appreciate all of you so much. I hope you all are doing good. Wish you all a happy Easter. Yeah. Take care. Happy knitting. And I hope I will see you all very soon. Bye.